I sit down and I see Morph and the ability just to become anybody you want. I mean, he even gets the guns. I like how the Sentinel's just hiding behind some trees that it's at least 30 feet taller than.
Not only is it a little person with their flailing arms and legs, it becomes a fake little person as a second take, which I am like doubly enjoying.
A
And he just
twofer.
whips them through the window.
Happened in the 90s.
Which X-Men did you want to be as a kid? Who was
I
it?
think we all wanted to be Wolverine, man. But you know, this a close second was always Gambit.
Yeah, it was neck and neck, Steve, because I didn't see Wolverine really going out there and snagging a lot of sniz. And Gambit had like that sort of joie de vivre that I wanted to have, you know?
It's like Rock and Stone Cold, bro. When it was happening, it was like, man, I'm torn because they're both cool in their own different way. But Rock was more of the ladies' man. And I feel like Gambit, it's the same with Wolverine. Like, yeah, Wolverine wasn't chasing no tail, and neither was Stone Cold. He just wanted to whip ass. And as kids, as preteens, as teens, we thought that shit was cool.
That was basically our psyches, was getting some puss and being angry and wanting to kick somebody's ass. That was us as in the 90s in just a little nutshell. So yeah, it was like a perfect combo. But I will say this is like for powers wise, it's cool if you can't be hurt. You know, you have healing factor. You can make shit explode. That's cool. But when I sit down and I see Morph and the ability just to become anybody you want, I mean, he even gets the guns.
Yeah, everything.
So he gets it all.
And all. Yeah.
I think that would be cool because then you're like, if you have kind of like a questionable morality, you can start robbing people, you know, maybe get a couple keys to some shit. Like, I don't know. You could do a lot, you know, you can cause a lot of havoc.
I feel like Morph is underrepresented.
I will say, because, you know, this show was actually they started doing it again in X-Men 97, and he's sort of more of a character in that. They flesh him out a little bit more because he doesn't really get a lot of screen time in this show. For obvious reasons that we'll get to, but he's a cool character. I think he was actually created for the show. I don't think he was like an X-Men, like in the comics.
And I love some of the live action movies, but another underrepresented X-Men is Gambit, man. And you know better than I do. Like, why didn't that Channing Tatum project come to fruition? Like, it's been
I think that was just like Hollywood stuff, dude. Like, because some of that when it's not just the main stuff and Marvel's just like, yeah, we're gonna make an Avengers movie or whatever, whoever owns the property. It's just like it's hard for people, and I really don't get it either, because I think it's just like anything. Like, you know, Wolverine caught on in the movies, but he also caught on in the cartoon. And I think if you were paying attention, like the same thing would have happened with Gambit. And it did when they put him in the Deadpool movie with Channing, because he did get his chance to kind of play that. He killed it. Everyone loved it. The powers look insane in live action. And I think it was so cool and people love the character so much. I think I actually read somewhere that they're going to keep him doing that in some way. Like maybe he will finally get to make that movie.
He killed it in the cartoon, man. Like, that's what introduced me to Gambit, because, you know, I've said this countless times. I didn't grow up being a comic book kid. But the cartoon, it introduced me to like all of these, like the main ones: Beast, Nightcrawler, Morph, Jubilee. I didn't know about any of the women, not even Storm, man. And I think she's one of the coolest ones on the show.
Yeah, I think honestly, like when you get down to it, Storm and Wolverine are probably the most popular ones out of everybody. People love, like, because when me and Kendra go to like comic book conventions and stuff, that's huge. There's chicks with Storm cosplay on. And I support it because
it's one of the sexiest characters.
It's sexy. And it can go in a lot of different ways. Storm had a lot of cool looks. She had like sort of a mohawk punk look for a while, but when you get down to it, she's just, all these chicks are just fine, Steve.
It leads to my next question on this episode's version of Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh no. Okay.
Rogue.
Okay.
Storm. and Jean Grey. Fuck, marry, kill. Roll Tide.
I'm gonna kill Jean Grey. She's blasé to me. There's nothing
She fucks
exciting,
missionary.
and she can like read your mind in a weird way. So I feel like the level of like arguments you'd get into with her,
Bad
it's
enough.
exactly. So she's gone. Rogue, I'm gonna have to marry because we're gonna have to figure out the whole like suck your energy out of your body thing, so we can actually have marital relations, which I think is going to lead to some really romantic sex, Steve. But we're going to have to figure it out. Maybe it's going to. I don't even know if a condom's enough to not like get that ultimate suck that she does to people. But that might be in it. It might also be the greatest thing like time of your life. I don't know, but
She can
Mary
give a mean
Rogue.
HJ.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember the movie, the reaction guys had when Rogue touched guys, where they were like, oh, and their veins popped out. That's, that shows you that's what's gonna happen. It's like the orgasmerator. But yeah, and then I'm gonna fuck Storm because she's hot, Steve. And when you get into it, like thunder's gonna crackle. She's gonna make lightning and shit come around. It might get a little bit dangerous, but I think that's kind of sexy, honestly.
Storm is bae.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you're gonna marry Storm.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
5'11".
That's a tall tenderoni. I mean, dude. But she'll even like narrate. She'll have some like insane narration while you get by the powers of doggy style. She'll just go to it, Steve. I love that.
At least she can do it doggy style. Jean Grey can't do. All she can do is missionary. I'm killing her.
She's tired a lot too. Like
her and Cyclops. That's all. Like lay over.
I'll just watch you jack. I'll just watch you jack off. Okay, fine. Let me project something into your head.
Well, I can't look directly at it, so help me out. At least with that.
Yeah, Jean Grey's got to go. She's a problem anyway, Steve.
She's a Karen.
She's got questionable everything, so she's out. But I like that.
I don't think the other X-Men even care for it, because Wolverine, he's the like one man gang. He don't like any of them.
Here's what I really think Wolverine likes about Jean Grey. I think what it really is he hates Cyclops so much that he's like, what can I do to really just stick it to this fucking douchebag? And it's Jean Grey. So I think that he's into it. He's into it, but it's more of like a fuck you to Cyclops, where it's like, dude, look, I can fucking have her whenever I want, dude.
He does classic heel shit, but he does it in a cool way.
He like plays him in front of her all the time. He even punches him in the gut and stuff all the time. He's just like constantly bullying Cyclops, and rightfully so, Steve.
And even as a kid, man, it's like, dude, Cyclops, he's a hero, a good guy, and all that, but he's kind of a douche too.
He's Leonardo, dude, in the Ninja Turtles. It's like, yes, I respect it. You're a leader, but I just don't. It's not the guy I want to be, Steve. It's the guy we should want to be because he does the right thing every time, and he's a leader, and he's a great person. But you want to be Wolverine, Steve.
You want to be Dylan. You want to be Wolverine.
You want to be fucking Gambit in that card shop trying to get some sniz while everybody else is just hanging out with each other. He's off on his own. Exactly. I knew it this whole time, bud.
The era, well, yeah, we both did. But it's just, it pinpoints the era of the anti-hero, man. And like, these guys, they're all right. Yeah, cheer. Yeah, you're doing good shit. But this person, he's kind of doing some other type of shit in his own way. And it's like,
yeah, I wish I could just do that. Put somebody in the gut and walk away. Get on a motorcycle and be like, I go where I want to go, bub. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. But also, just in terms of X-Men, I will say that, I think Batman, at least in my opinion, for comic books, has the best villains. But X-Men is right up there. I think Magneto specifically is one of the greatest villains in comic book history. I think that's probably everyone would agree on that, but he's awesome in this, and he's just awesome in general.
I fucks with it. And like watching it as an adult, like I get it. He's one of those villains that like I kind of get where you're going, but it's the execution. Don't care for that.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I just like a guy. I like this, like, and I think everybody does because that's why he's so popular. But there's like a great reason. Like his origin story is fucking fantastic, and he's not a villain actually, but he's just like somebody that has a different opinion than Charles Xavier and stuff. But another thing that they continue in the new cartoon, like that just recently came out, and they make it even more badass. Like all this whole thing just keeps going, and there's a reason I think X-Men caught on. I mean, obviously there's undertones of a lot of social issues and stuff that they hide with mutants.
It's the whole like MLK Malcolm X dichotomy.
I mean, really, for sure. And I think a lot of people, like, there's a lot of different groups that can kind of see themselves in this. You know, I think like the LGBTQ community sees themselves as X-Men because you see a lot of that. But also, like what you said, there's a lot of civil rights stuff in there, and it's just written so well. And everybody has somebody. You know, for us, it was Wolverine, but I think that's another thing. Everybody could watch this and be like, "Ooh, that's the person I like," or that's the, you know, they all have their favorites and stuff. And it's funny to watch because for some reason in my head, I thought the animation was much better. It's real weird looking. It's real kind of cheap looking when you actually watch it. It's like choppy and stuff.
I appreciate that though.
Yeah, but man, they pulled it off, dude. I mean, they really did. It's crazy that we got this in the 90s, but it was so good that, I mean, it just lasted so long. People like, bring it back. And it's one of the few things that they brought back that it didn't diminish it. It actually just continued something and made it just continued the greatness.
Dude, it's X-Men, dude. It's like Mickey Mouse. It's like Kermit the Frog. It could continue even past our times because the characters, they sell themselves. Shout out to Stan Lee, man. OG, triple OG.
The legend, dude.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Steiner brothers and your sisters with voices, and let's play house. Let's play house. Let's play house. Engine number 9. Let's play house. I'll be the daddy and you play the mama, and I'll be the daddy that runs the house. Straight up.
That's going to be stuck in my head forever now, Steve. Like that and that. Remember the... that's on that one. My love. Candy. Your little postscript of candy-coated raindrops or whatever.
My love.
Yeah, dude. I mean, another one, Steve. When's your record contract start? That's my only question.
With Make It Out of Here Records, yeah, man, they just sent me a fax through email. Today, my friend, we're talking all things Halloween.
Oh.
In the 90s. Oh. Starting off in 1992, X-Men debuts on Fox with Night of the Sentinels Part 1. Jubilee is attacked by robots called Sentinels at a local mall.
And this is how it started, Steve. I mean, I must have seen this episode fucking, I don't even know how many times. I think I had this on tape. Like, I think I literally watched this 100 times.
Saturday mornings would never be the same again, man.
I don't even remember this, like, me stopping watching it, because I definitely did. I think I just got like old and you stop kind of watching Saturday morning cartoons. But I do remember like the first time seeing this where I already like comic books, but this, I became like just fascinated. Everything was X-Men after this. Every time I went to a toy store, I'm getting a Wolverine toy. I'm getting a comic book. You know, I don't know about you, but for a while, this was the only thing I really wanted to watch, honestly.
And really, this introduced me to Wolverine because I didn't really know of him until the cartoon.
I didn't either. I really didn't, dude. Like I didn't know a lot about comic books. It was just something cool that I liked, and I like to draw. So I would like my dad would get me one, or somebody would give me one, and I just use it like sort of as a tool, and I'd read them, but I would just like try to draw the shit. But once I watched this, I actually started subscribing to comics, like getting them in the mail in like a little backboard and plastic and stuff, and buying them and just like getting the big books and stuff. Like this made me like completely fascinated by like all things comic book. Really, it truly turned me into a comic book geek for a while. Fox was killing it, dude. You got to remember also the Spider-Man cartoon that they had that like sort of came out after this. That shit was fire too.
The Spider-Man, and then later the Tick. I don't know if you watched that.
Oh, hell yeah. Spoon!
I think Bobby's World might have still been around, or at least in syndication.
Eek the Cat, dude. I mean, their animated lineups were crazy. Plus, we were getting Power Rangers, we're getting Beetleborgs, fucking VR Troopers, Steve. I mean, the list goes on. VR Troopers maybe not that great, but it's, the memory of it's pretty cool.
I fucked with some Beetleborgs, though.
Yeah, Beetleborgs was tight. And also, remember something I forgot about Beetleborgs? Remember there was like a guy that looked like Elvis in it?
Yeah, he's like a monster.
Was he a goat? Yeah, something. I don't know. But yeah, what kind of drugs were those writers on? Beetleborgs?
Who are the Ant Wizards who came with this one? We start this one off. The first character we see is Sabretooth. And he's creating havoc, raising a ruckus.
He's into that. He's into just destruction. Usually he's beating the shit out of Wolverine because they're like fucking antagonists. People are just kind of getting real anti-mutant out there, People are really, the normies aren't liking these mutants because they're out here fucking shit up, Steve.
And we are also introduced to Jubilee, and she's at her home, and her parents, they want to get her an outreach. She overhears this, and she's actually a foster child. She was an adopted child at an early age, I believe.
Yeah. I think her parents died. I don't remember what the backstory is, but she has these foster parents, and they actually registered because they have like a mutant registry now. The normies are like trying to get these people on a list so they know, because you don't really know. You don't know who's a mutant unless they're one of the crazy looking ones like Beast. But so that's a thing. We find out that's a thing. And Jubilee sort of is like eavesdropping and hears this because like the mom's like, do you regret adopting our baby? And the dad's like, no, but she's killed like 5 VCRs with these crazy powers she's got. We got bills to pay, honey.
Yeah, you see what she did to my dirty debutantes tapes? How can I wax it?
I was trying to jack off. I see sparkles. Next thing you know, fucking Busty Night Nurses 3, it's gone. I don't even know where it's at.
It's messing up all the tapes. I can't keep going to the nudie booth.
Yeah, but she doesn't like that. She just feels, she goes to her room, she's crying, she feels isolated. She doesn't know if her mom and dad love her. But this mutant registry thing, we see immediately what's actually going on here because a giant robot breaks into the house, just busts in Godzilla style to get her out of the room. She escapes it. And what I love is that there's like it's got to be 50 feet tall, Steve. It's a giant robot. It's literally like drilled a hole, just punched a hole into a house. There's been screaming. The mom just yells up and is like, honey, is everything okay? It's like, bitch, no.
Right.
The dad was pissed though. He's like, I told you, she just blew a fucking hole in the house. Because they blamed it on her, Steve. You know that.
Gravity should be concerned as well.
Yeah. But like insurance wise, you're right though. Premiums are going up because God knows what you're going to sell that as. Like, I don't know. There's just a giant hole in my house. Do we got coverage for that? No, sorry.
In Jubilee, she's not even in her room. She's at the local arcade. Mm-hmm. And, she's playing some Street Fighter. crushing it. And eventually she actually does crush the arcade game because of her mutant powers. She can't control them.
Yeah, she got to that Vega level right near the end, and she just couldn't beat his. He was just jumping off the walls, and so she when she gets all turned up, she just sparkles, and that translates into like a little, she blows up the arcade game, and then one of the most grimy child molesty arcade owners of all time comes out and is like, "You know how much that costs, honey?"
That's supposed to be Stan Lee.
Oh man. Stan, you need to fucking in heaven slap whoever drew that. That's not cool.
Not cool at all.
Stan Lee was a gentleman. He is not that at all. She's being singled out. All these normie people are like, "Get out of here, you fucking mutant, you fucking piece of shit." So she starts running, and she just like brushes past Storm and Rogue. This is how we meet them, and they're in like their business casual gear, looking sexy as hell, Steve.
Doing a little shopping. Women love shopping, Matt. Women be shopping.
I mean, if we were up, like if that was Franklin Park and we were just sitting there and Rogue and Storm walked by, both of us would have been like, "Did you see that shit? Look at that. Look at the ass, man.
Look at the titties.
Hey." Hey. But so, that's how we meet her. And then isn't this where we meet Gambit too? Because he's just trying to get some sniz on the lowdown, Steve.
Yeah, I think he's at like a greetings card shop.
Someplace where you can buy a shit ton of playing cards, which I never really thought of that part of his power, where it's like, he likes to use the pizzazz of a playing card, but he's got to replenish the stock. It's not like he can go grab them. Yeah, I never thought of that. What's the overhead on just blowing up fucking playing cards, Steve? Jesus.
Like, where do you stock those? Like, how big is that mutant plantation y'all stay at, the compound?
But we see what his other power is in the store, because he's like buying these, and the girl's like, "Do you want to have anybody to play games with, Mr. Gambit?" And he's like, "Oh, hold on." Hey. So he's laying the groundwork to, possibly throw a little something at this chick. But then the Sentinel just comes out of nowhere. That's what these giant robots are called. And it's looking for Jubilee. It's tracked her. It's got her footprints because she's registered in this registry. So now there's mayhem in this mall. It's going after her. It's fucking shit up. Jubilee's sparkling people. She's, I don't understand how that power specifically, it's like it blinds the robot almost, I don't get that, but
seems minuscule. Like, not my favorite of the powers. It's like you're throwing like sparklers at them. Like, sparkler was my least favorite firework.
I would be, and I think what it is like that's going to evolve into something else, because Gambit's power, you think it's just like cards, but he can literally charge anything he touches to explode. So that could be a building.
What if the sparks are like mutant AIDS? Like, that would okay. Like that would be deadly. Like, okay, I gave this robot some mutant AIDS with these sparks. Like, that would be.
Oh God, bitch!
Some arsenic is in it. Like, yeah, it's like it's like a disease stew, poison and like AIDS.
It's like if Charlie Sheen sneezed in your face.
Yeah,
basically
with sparks.
Where you're not gonna get away from that. It's some damage has been done. I like that, Steve. I like that like arc for her, but right now it's more cute. It's more fun. She's got sparkles. She's got this cool yellow April O'Neil trench coat. It's cool. I dig it. I'd want to hang, honestly, dude. Like, as a kid, I thought she was kind of like hot. I was like, she plays arcade games. They're going after Jubilee, but now that the X-Men are sort of in the mall, they all start like becoming themselves and fighting the Sentinel in front of the mall to save Jubilee. Storm uses lightning to transform into her regular outfit, which I never understood, but think it's very badass.
And Gambit, he notices this, and he's like, "All right, man, all that shit I just said, put that on ice. I'ma holler back. Don't worry about that damage. Y'all got insurance. I got some business to take care of." So he does his little sling.
And he also saves Jubilee, because at one point, like, I think the Sentinel shoots like a walkway out from underneath her, and he catches her. So he's just always Johnny on the spot, Steve. He's just an ultimate fucking gentleman, to be honest.
Yeah, she fell right into his arms, man. And I didn't realize he was 6'2".
Oh, did you look at the little technical schematics at the end? Is that how you figured that out?
Yeah, he can be a
Hell
shooting
yeah.
guard for the
Well,
Pistons or
shit.
something.
I love that. I'm like Gambit height. I love that.
Yeah.
6'2", 6'3". All I need to do is work on my cage and maybe get a couple more sit-ups in. I'll be
But
good.
it's not fair, man, because Jubilee says she didn't ask for this. No one asked to be a mutant, you know? She escapes and she's just trying to make it back home, trying to check on her folks to see, like, oh man, these giant robots, what they're doing to my neighborhood. And they track her down.
Well, and I also like, she's running. She's in like, she's had a day, so she's not really like taking stock of everything. But I like how this Sentinel's just hiding behind some trees that it's at least 30 feet taller than. But they get her, they gas her, or they try to gas her, don't they? But
well, they do gas her and they cause some damage to more buildings, but then eventually she runs into Cyclops.
yeah,
And
that's what
Cyclops,
happened.
he saves the day, throw his cape on, Captain Saber Jubilee, and he does his little zzz, basic ass mutant power.
Straight decapitates the Sentinel, though, Steve. I mean,
I'll
he
give
just
props on that did look raw. I'm not even gonna hold you. That did.
I've
look raw.
actually, because YouTube has like videos about like very specific shit about comic books and comic book movies. And apparently, Steve, we're talking shit about Cyclops, but this power that's coming out of his eyes is actually a power that's almost as big as like even the most powerful mutants that we've seen, like Magneto. Like that thing that he has on limits what comes out, like that visor. But if he goes full blast, he could cut through the earth, Steve.
I digress then, Cyclops. I'm
Better
not as
watch your
well
fucking
versed.
mouth.
I should. With all that being said, yeah, it's just, you know what? I'm coming from also the video game perspective because I remember playing that for Sega, and
Oh,
his move is just like, oh man,
yeah,
it was,
dude.
it was restricted.
Gambit. Shout out Gambit in that video game too. Gambit
I
and
love
Wolverine again in the video
again.
game. The best two characters.
Exactly. That's all I'm coming from. But at the same time,
I get it. I get it. But I'm the same way, Steve. I don't like him. I don't want to I don't like this goody two shoes, dude. I like a nice suave fucking Gambit. I like a nice fucking asshole. But if he gets all sad and shit and takes that visor off, he's something's gonna happen. But
it's a wrap.
yeah.
So I get it.
But he saves the day. We cut over to the X mansion. And Jubilee wakes up, and she doesn't know what happened. She kind of passed out, and she's in like this strange facility. It's high tech. If you didn't know better, you might be in like a fucking alien ship because it's not. It's like next level shit, Steve.
Yeah, you don't see nurses or a doctor.
Yeah,
and she wakes out of her coma and she's trying to figure out where she's at. She's roaming around and she overhears some news coverage of this mutant mania. It's like a alien red scare, if you will. And
I mean, it's like, I hate to get political, but it's like what they're called, like all the migrant shit that they're saying right now about immigrants. Like, there's rapists and killers coming across our borders and shit. It's like, okay.
It's the same story,
Yeah,
just change the characters.
For real. That's why this shit's so profound. But she gets out. I love how she gets out too, because she's learning her power. She's locked in. She's like, all right, sparkle power, let's figure this out. She fingers the door lock, Steve, with the little sparkle, and she knocks the lock out. But I thought that was pretty cool. She'll sparkle you in the face, or she can just give you a little in the tailpipe,
right, or in the ear. Just that'd be cold. Like, just
damn, she just fucking kills a guy like that. We need some R-rated X-Men. That's what was cool about seeing Gambit's power in Deadpool. He makes people explode when these cards hit them. It's not like in this show where it's just like, ow.
A lot.
But she gets out, and now she's like sort of wandering around this facility, room to room. So we get to see some other things. She looks in one room, and I don't know how she doesn't like yell out of like just shock. Beast is just in there fucking making some kind of like chemicals and shit, talking poetry and saying something's about to explode. But just seeing a giant like blue Sasquatch,
Yeah, that's yoked up like Brock
I mean, bodied out. There's no body fat on this guy, Steve. He jerks off with his feet. He's making chemical stew. And then she goes into another room. She goes into the next room. Morph's sitting on the couch watching Jerry Springer, and he's just turning into characters he's seeing on the TV, including Jubilee herself, which has got to be a mind fuck.
Still doesn't creep out, doesn't yell, doesn't scream.
Yeah, I mean, she might be like a sleeper agent, Steve. She's got nerves of fucking steel.
Yeah, it's just everything seems normal to her.
But then we cut to another room that, like, away from this Jubilee stuff, and Charles and Jean Grey are talking about something. Here's the thing, like, they're both telepathic. Why don't they, like, I'd be like, let's keep it real on the down low and just talk with mind to mind, Why not?
Hey, I'm gonna send everybody else on a mission. Me and Jean Grey, yeah, we gonna stay here. We working remote.
Yeah,
like we gonna be there with y'all, but we got Wi-Fi. We the only ones capable of Wi-Fi, so we just gonna be us.
Gene, this is Scott. Please don't have weird Demolition Man sex with Charles again. It's creepy.
You know what my eyes do.
Yeah. I will fucking eye blast you. I will eye blast you in the teeth, bitch. So they're doing this. They have like a sense. They sense something's amiss. An alarm goes off. Jubilee's, she's been found. She's escaped. Everyone's on the lookout. So she's running. She runs into a room, starts hitting buttons in this, like, there's got to be 100 buttons on this keypad that she's just fucking with. She jams like 30 of them, walks in. God damn it, Steve. She walked into the it wasn't the fucking wine cellar she walked into. She walked into the danger room, Steve. The danger room. I mean, of all places. So she must have jacked the power up a little bit. The doors close and we hear Wolverine Gambit training module starting. And it's at level 10. So she's seeing shit's going on. Gambit and Wolverine are getting down and dirty. They're fighting. And then we find out it's like a VR simulation training simulator that the X-Men use to just, get yoked up. I mean, you see Cyclops behind you. This guy's got to be benching 400 for reps. I mean,
it's like wrecking balls coming through the room at the same time. They got rising and falling pillars like on Golden Child.
It's like American Gladiators, dude. It's the fucking Eliminator, dude.
And at the same time, while all that's going on, I have to beat your ass. That part too.
Yeah, can't we like get along and like try to fight these other things? It's like, yeah, avoid these lasers and beat the shit out of each other. I don't know if Charles was using this like this. I don't like that, guys. But
stay
super badass. Super badass.
Yeah.
But as this is all going on, Gambit, she knows Gambit. So Gambit's in there. Wolverine's getting the drop on Gambit, and fucking Jubilee sparkles his ass and knocks him silly, Steve. We're talking about Wolverine here, dude. Yeah, talking about the realest of them all. But then that's where it's revealed what they're in is like a computer simulation. It all disappears. And now that all the other X-Men are clowning Wolverine because he just got fucking bitched out by Jubilee. By somebody named Jubilee.
With the Carmen Sandiego coat?
I guess his weakness is sparkles, Steve. We just didn't know.
Use the hoe, bro. Even Morph. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. That's hilarious. It'd be hilarious. You a bitch. So now Jubilee's like, what the hell is going on here? So Storm kind of breaks it all down about Xavier, who he is, what the school is. And, Jubilee feels like an outcast, and that's what this place is for. It's for people like her to figure out who they are as mutants, hone their power, and use it for good, Steve.
The betterment of mankind. And she leaves her with a very special message. People only fear what they don't understand.
That's fucking goddamn. This is a kid's show.
So profound.
It's a damn kid show. As they're discussing this, Xavier's putting things together, and now he realizes that this mutant control agency that we've been hearing about and is like registering mutants is a real problem here.
They have an agenda.
Something's going on, and I thought it was all cool. I thought they were just trying to get a mailing list together. Shame on me. They're trying to round us up and kill us.
I thought it was the Census Bureau.
Jubilee realizes this. Does she go back to her parents' house?
Well, her parents, they're being questioned by
That's
the agency. Like, yeah, they're actually at the house, like asking them a bunch of stuff about Jubilee. And I don't know if it's already been said, but like they say that she was a foster child. She does head home and she's interrupted by another Sentinel and another Sentinel.
And they got that little gas fucking pod, Steve. Bromfield, we would have been just fucking just ripping that thing like a whippet, but it takes Jubilee out. And they take her away, Steve.
Yeah, so we cut back to the X mansion, and Professor X, he puts him out on a mission. He wants Rogue to take Morph, Cyclops, and Beast to take care of these Sentinels, wreaking havoc on the town.
Yeah. But Wolverine's kind of pissed off. He's like, man, what are we doing? We need to just go fucking do this. And Scott's like, come on, Wolverine, let's be a team, guys. Team effort. And Wolverine's like, man, shut up.
He's like DMX and Belly. He's just all out with it. Just like, nah, fuck the plan. Fuck your plan sucks.
He's DX, dude. He's DX in the X-Men. See? Bow to the masters. He's just fucking... He's even got an X right by his dick, Steve, just to line up those little hand motions. But he goes out. So, now it's like, God damn it, dude. Like, we had this whole thing set up. Okay, so now we're going to keep going. Wolverine's doing God knows what. He's probably going to a fucking massage parlor again.
Well, Jean Grey also alerts Cyclops that Jubilee got away again because they don't know that.
Don't they think she's at, like, the facility that they're going to? Like, the mutant control agency, or they just don't know that she's somewhere else, I guess.
Well, Jean Grey, she's the first one to like figure it out, I guess, with her senses.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the easy explanation. I mean, she can track anything, so she just figured out telepathically. I forgot one other interesting thing that I kind of thought was like kind of deep in this episode, where when they're doing the mission, they're getting ready and they're about to leave, and Cyclops like is talking to Xavier. He's like, don't you think a bunch of mutants going to attack this anti-mutant agency is going to be a bad look for us? Like, because people are already scared of all of us anyway. So isn't this just like adding to that fire a little bit? And Xavier's like, look, dude, like this is way too fucked up. Like, we can't worry about that. We just have to stop this.
Got to do what we got to do.
That's pretty crazy. So they go to this facility where I guess it's like the databases are stored of like all the mutants. They get to like the fence, and I love this because they're like, they're there. They think they're Johnny on the spot, but Wolverine's fucking sitting there like smoking a stogie in a tree, like, hey, you fucking losers.
Took y'all long enough.
Yeah, that's what he's a badass. I feel like we get a little bit of backstory about like Rogue. I think she talks about how she got her powers in this segment too, about she found out about how that she was immune by like kissing a boy and putting him into a coma, basically. Somebody else said something, but it's just basically like everybody's just sort of like talking about how traumatic it was when they found out that they had powers, and they had to come out. They had to come out, Steve, as mutants.
What was the reason that Storm had to do her power?
I think it was kind of like a diversion a little bit. So they get to the fence, and now it's party time. So it's a heavily armed facility. There's guys walking around like a fucking Pentagon. So Storm goes up. She gets like it foggy and stormy. I guess they can go in unseen. They get to the fence. Morph gets a fucking boost from Beast. He just hulks his ass over a fence. That's how strong Beast is. Morph uses his power to sort of Terminator 2 a guard, where he basically turns into the guard, just fucking, I think he gasses him. He has like a fucking gas gun.
Yeah,
that's pretty
like
awesome.
Gun, yeah. Like
He's got like a Bill Cosby gun that just it's an instant pass out. And so they infiltrate this facility. They get in, and then Wolverine kind of shows his power. This is kind of us seeing how their powers work, like in a real situation. So they get into the building. Wolverine, they're like in this hallway, and Wolverine's like, "Hold on, chill. There's laser beams in here." And somebody's like, "You could see laser beams?" He's like, "Nah, I could smell them shits." And so Storm makes like mist come up out of the ground. They see these like security lasers that are on the ground, and then Beast fucking ninja warriors through the hallway like on a pipe, turns off the lasers, and it's good to go, Steve. This is Mission Impossible, and it's working fantastically at this point.
Or is it?
Son of a bitch. We got problems, guys. Because Cyclops, he sees like a tank coming in. Rogue, she doesn't like what she's smelling because I like Cyclops too. He's like, I just wish I knew what was going on in there. Why can't you guys communicate though? Don't you guys have like some fucking walkie-talkies?
The Turtles did.
Yeah, dude. They had video shits. They had a video turtle communicator, Steve.
I like turtles.
But back to this. Back to non-turtles related shit. This is a two-part episode, so we're right at the end of this. And as the cliffhanger, we think everything's going great. And even Morph's like, looks like it's all going up for us, guys. Nothing bad's about to happen to us. And then we cut to the other side of the door, and there's like a dozen dudes with fucking guns trained on the door. Yeah, shit's about to go down, Steve. Shit's about to really go down. But what a great first episode. Yeah. Like sort of, you hear how we were saying, like, every little scene, they would like give you a little backstory, throw a little sauce about like the trauma and like all these characters sort of sharing these similar things of, being subjugated and isolated because they were mutants and stuff. And it's just really well done. Some like crazy deep in some cases too. But I mean, that's the comic book, dude.
And another one of those things that went over our heads as kids, but now we can grasp it and look at it and watch all of this in a different way,
I think that's why when they brought that show back, the cartoon back, why it was the quality of it. I'm not talking about the animation. I mean, obviously they updated the animation, but just like the storytelling and just like the story they were telling that they just kept going with it, why it resonates so well. And the same thing happened now that happened then. Like people saw these characters and they're like, I need more of this. It's that good. Yeah. Stan Lee, dude, he just can't be. He could never be stopped. In terms of him and Stephen King have to be two of the most successful creative writers of all time. Those prolific, in terms of being prolific and like the amount that they put out, like it has to be 1 and 2. And I don't know who's better because I feel like Stan Lee. I think like I'd go Stan Lee, but it's close, dude. It's very close.
Yeah, Stephen King has a whole library. But
so does Stan Lee, dude. I mean, and think of all the characters he helped create. These characters, Spider-Man, all those characters that he created with that, of the Incredible Hulk and stuff. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just like Stephen King has a lot, but it's neck and neck. And shout out to both those dudes. And rest in peace, Stan Lee, you fucking king, dude.
Yeah, man. And that following year, 1993, we would lose American actor and singer River Phoenix at the age of 23.
Yeah, that was huge, dude.
Yeah. I remember it being on MTV News. I mean, like you said, it was everywhere on all of the before blogging, all of the gossip shows, the E! Network shows. And he's considered to be the James Dean of his generation.
Well, I think they were really like, he was that guy that out of like that age of actor, like the Johnny Depps and like the Christian Slaters and those types of dudes. Like, I think people thought he was the one that was going to be like the best.
He was,
because he really was good. Stand By Me and stuff. Like, he's just really good.
He basically, where Leo and the projection of his career, how that went, that was supposed to be where River Phoenix was supposed to,
Yeah. And we got left with Joaquin. I'm into it. I still like me some. I like the Phoenix boys both, but yeah, I think we lost a good one. It was just one of those like, wasn't it drugs? I mean, that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, he passed out. Was it in Hollywood outside of
The Viper Room.
the Viper Room? Yeah, and John Frusciante, like there were a lot of like celebrities in attendance. Johnny Depp's band was performing, I believe.
I think he owned that bar too. I think he owned the Viper Room. But yeah, that was huge news. I mean, this is one of those first like tragic Hollywoods, like a Heath Ledger type thing where right at the height, like where his career was going to really like pop off, he was dead, like Chris Farley almost.
Yeah, man. R.I.P. 1995, Cypress Hill would release Cypress Hill 3, Temples of Boom. Throw your set in the air, wave it around like you just don't care. Yeah.
We all love Cypress Hill, Steve.
Man,
I don't know if this is my favorite album, but that's just in general, dude. Just some fucking absolute legends of rap and of weed.
Well, this one has some slappers. Killer Hill Ninjas featuring RZA and You God of Wu-Tang. Man, I had to hop on that. And it has a song called Stoned Raiders.
Yep.
And this is something that we will forever be tied to. You own the Stoned Raiders album, and Blue, this big dude, he played football. He was on the football team because I never heard about him having a stat or nothing. I don't remember hearing him getting props from any yards or any whatever he did. But this dude really tried to steal your album in front of me and Jordan.
Yeah.
And you know how small those rooms were. And he was a big guy. And like, I'm not going to lie, bro. A part of me was a little scared when I called him out. But it's like, man, you know what? There's two of y'all. If it comes down to it, Jordan could throw down with you, man.
Jordan goes low, you go high, Steve. That's all I can tell you. You just got to get them down. That's it. I appreciate it. I can't believe that you did that. Honestly, I appreciate it because we almost lost out on an album that we must have listened to getting high in a car for hours on end.
Well, dude, because it was so obviously in our face, I feel like me and Jordan would feel like some straight hoes if like obviously, yeah, this dude could punch holes in both of our faces, but he's doing it so blatantly. Like, dude, you really must think we're some bitches. Like,
that guy, he was just that guy, Steve. If it wasn't a CD, it was a couple hits off a blunt where he would just appear out of the mist. It was like you couldn't go anywhere. We could be in a bunker with a combination lock, like a panic room style thing, and hit a blunt once, and then you just see Blue come out of some dark corner someplace like, oh, let me get into that. Let me get into that.
What y'all doing? And I hate that Blue has taken up Cypress Hill time. They deserve all of it. But Stone Raiders, that is a good song on there, man. I added like half of this album to the playlist. I think Throw Your Set in the Air is one of the songs that they performed on The Simpsons too, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a song called California that I know is really good too. I'm trying to just look at the track list. Everybody Must Get Stoned. That's, I mean, come on. And there's another one. I think it's Illusions. I'm having illusions, only confusion, driving me out of my mind. I mean, dude. And also, they walk so us stoners in the 90s could run, Steve. They took a couple of hits of their, not of weed, but they took some hits of their reputation in order to just like further the weed, and I love that.
At a time when it wasn't so universally embraced, and they helped push it to the forefront, like them and Snoop and Willie. And I don't think DJ Muggs gets enough props as one of the best like hip hop producers of all time. A lot of those hits that we heard from Cypress Hill that we love, he was the guy behind that, man. And he's still active. He just put out an album, I want to say about a month ago, man, and that shit slaps. So shout out to DJ Muggs. You're
the only thing, yeah, he is a boss. I mean, these guys are all fucking legends, and like how long they've been in the game too. Like they haven't stopped making music. They've just become like pop culture icons as well because they've been around so long. But here's one thing that I just always was like, I wish they didn't have this one thing that they did where they got in a beef with Ice Cube. And I just didn't like that. But
you're making me pick a side.
Yeah, you know, and if I have to pick a side in there, I'm going Ice Cube each and every day.
It's got to be Cube, yeah.
But
I don't want to do that to y'all, Cypress Hill.
I don't like that for you either. Anyway, you didn't look good for it, but you got out of it. You were one of the few people that got out of that. You know, and did get completely dismantled. You know, they just took like maybe a little like it delayed their career maybe like 6 or 7 months. I feel like,
but they've matured since. Staying on the West Coast, though, another great duo, Daz and Corrupt, the Dog Pound, if you will. They would drop Dog Food, and man, this is one of the first CDs I bought.
That's crazy.
With my Christmas money in '95, I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to get a Discman, and whatever's left, I'm going to buy some CDs with my new Discman. It was Junior Mafia, Conspiracy, and Dog Pound, Dog Food. Like that, my 12-year-old brain, I was trying to be like a peacemaker. Like, hey, I like the West Coast and I like the East Coast. I'm going to get some Death Row, and I'm going to get some Bad Boy with some Biggie. Yeah, that's where my thought process was. I'm in the Midwest.
When did this come out?
This was 95, Halloween, man.
God damn, dude. This was a little spicy though. See, there was like once I started getting into some rap, like if my mom turned around a rap album and saw some bomb ass pussy on there, it would have immediately been taken away. You know, like I couldn't operate on this level yet.
Have you ever had some bomb ass pussy and make you wanna scream Dog Pound? Mm-hmm. Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever?
Just the affiliation also, you know? There was always going to be a bunch of features on it. They have the cosign of Snoop at all times, obviously. So
that's going to be, yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, I just couldn't. It makes me disappointed because, like I said, I think I missed out on some of these because it was just like I got into like a real spicy situation with my parents where, like, because I was buying so many fucking crazy CDs, they started getting real militant about checking everything that was in my room. About they gave it up, but it was like for like 2 years, I was like, I can't.
Dog Food definitely wouldn't have flown. It definitely wouldn't have flown, man.
If we all fuck, I mean, even without the K, Steve, I think Sonia would not have appreciated that.
This looks rappish.
Yeah.
But
man, are they smoking hashish in this?
Another one of my favorite Nate Dogg features. I don't like to dream about getting paid. I don't like to dream about getting paid. Like, I hate that he never got to see like how hip hop has immersed with other genres, man. I think he could do some really cool stuff because his delivery was kind of like a hip hop like three tenors type vibe. You know what I mean? Like
I always felt like he was like some sort of evolution of like a Frank Sinatra crooner that could like ride a beat almost. Like because he was like.
Yeah.
You can sing like Nate Dogg, but you can't sing like Nate Dogg. You know, it's just like Frank Sinatra. It's like not hard to croon. You can like don't need to be like the greatest singer, but for like he just like elevated that shit. And also to speak on his greatness, like I was watching something with Ludacris, and they were like Ludacris took time. He was like, I think he even said like all rappers like in his generation, he said he had Nate Dogg featured on like a lot like more songs than a lot of people, and I think that's probably correct. But he said like just watching that guy work was like magic because he's like he would sit there, he'd listen to the song, he'd write something down, he'd go in the booth, and then he would immediately come out with like the shit that you heard on the album. You know, it was like how'd you do that? You know, it's not just rapping, it's like melodies and like the way he sings stuff and time stuff, dude. I'm a huge like Nate Dogg fan, dude. I think he should be like one of the like recognized as just like one of the greatest singers of all time, honestly.
Facts, man. And like most of the production was done by Dad Zillinger. I like for some reason I thought Dre participated in some of it because he was still with Death Row at the time. You know, Death Row, they're still at full stride. But yeah, he did most of the production. And DJ Pooh, he did some tracks as a producer, man. That's Red from Friday. Put your glasses back on, man.
Get your ass up. Fucking around with these people, man.
Another guy who's kind of been behind the scenes and I don't think gets enough props, man. Like he was like a screenwriter. He co-wrote that with Cube, man, on top of being like a producer.
And he was just funny in the movie.
Yeah,
like, I mean, fuck, dude.
But shout out to that whole collective, man. Going down south now, 95, 8-Ball and MJG will release On Top of the World. And this is the one with Pimp in My Own Rhyme. I'm a pimp in my own fucking rhyme. Yes, I am a pimp in my own fucking rhyme.
Pimp in my own fucking rhyme. Dude, I hate to bring up Diddy, but the album that they did on Bad Boy, that shit is fucking hard as hell, dude. These guys are badasses. And they have one of the best, I mean, it's not even recent, but they did a song with Big Crit.
I know what song you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it's called Money on the Floor, but it's so good.
But Space Age Pimpin', that's another good one. That's actually, I want to say, the only release off this album, man. I really like the debut that they put out. We covered that not too long ago, but I like this one more because you could tell the production is a little bit more rich and they've perfected their flow. In my opinion, at this point, I always loved 8-Ball and MJG's flow, and 8-Ball has one of the most apt stage names for a rapper. Like, bro, you I don't know how long it took for you to come up with that, but like, yeah, that's perfect.
I just love like those two guys together. Like that name is just smooth. 8-Ball and MJG. I got into them fucking super late, but that's like a Southern group that I think they need. I mean, I'm sure they are recognized. I don't know how much like the heat they get, but I don't hear about them a lot.
Well, you know what? I was on that same boat, man, where like when they put out the Bad Boy shit, that's when I got like fully introduced to them. Like I heard the name, but I put 8-Ball and MJG in the same bracket as Scarface because I didn't think they put out radio jingles. And as a kid, I'm looking for the jingles. I'm looking for the Wu-Tangs. The like, do you have a radio, like something like with the repetitive chorus? Their whole appeal is like they're giving you kind of like anecdotes. They're giving you anecdotes. Like these are things that can happen in life. They're really like giving lessons in the form of rap songs, which as an adult I can appreciate. Like, don't do this is what this guy did. Don't do this. And the same thing with Scarface. These are things that happen in my world, in someone's world, or anyone's world. These are things that happen in life. And you know, as a kid, I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear no preaching. I want to shit. Where's the you can't touch this? But
oh yeah.
But as a 41-year-old, it's like, dude, that's clever because you're like you have a message behind like a really dope beat, like on top of the flow, and it's like a newfound appreciation for these guys.
And they just have sometimes like 8-Ball especially will just throw out some like pimpish ass like just some he has like pimp terminology sometimes that he'll use that just I love. Like their flows together, like they don't have like the same sort of style, but it works together combined. You know?
Totally, man. And in 1997, Family Matters comes out with season 9, episode 7, Stevil 2. This time he's not alone. Steve's evil ventriloquist dummy returns with a nightmarish sidekick. Hilarity kind of ensues.
I mean, dude, I figured how crazy Family Matters got near the end. Like this, like it's just wild, dude. I mean, Steve had alter egos. He had a time machine. He had a machine that turned him into cool Steve. And then we get these terrifying half puppets, half little people with masks running around. It's all just fucked up, Steve.
They've come such a long way. They've gone from Steve getting bullied and like that was the stressor of that week to now like we got like little Chucky dolls that look like us trying to kill us, take our souls.
Yeah, it's insane. This episode, we get an Urkel message, like just a quick PSA where, this he's warning you. This episode's so scary, you might want to watch it with somebody brave. Which is not Steve Urkel. Steve.
Well, yeah. Luckily for Urkel, he's got 3J and cousin Richie with him. In 3J, it's funny watching this because he's played by Orlando Brown, who would go on to play in That's So Raven as one of her buddies, and now he's like an internet meme. He goes on like countless interviews. If it's not Vlad, it's some other popular like YouTube platform, and he just has these out there interviews, man. Some people say it's an act. Some people say he's been one of the touched of Hollywood.
Oh, okay. It's one of those situations. Well,
don't
clocks. Know. I mean, the time of the era that clocks. But I gotta say, I was like, God, what happened to Richie? This motherfucker looks like he's about to get a bank loan. What the fuck? He's way too old.
Like he's about to rent a car.
Yeah, damn, dude. Is that Lionel Richie or just Richie? What the fuck? But Steve, this is always a hard time to talk about this. So Urkel needs to stay. He wants to stay awake. It's Halloween, and he doesn't want to go to sleep. It's too scary. So, he's trying to stay up. And how is he going to stay up? Well, he's like, well, I'm going to turn on some ABC. That's going to keep me up, but it doesn't. It's immediately, Steve.
He shows off some dribbling skills too, man, and that like wakes up Laura before he goes to sleep, and she's just like, dude, whatever you do, just don't dribble that ball. Matter of fact, I'm taking it with me. And like when he passes out, we cut upstairs to the bathroom, and Stevil emerges from the toilet.
That's weird. It's Mr. Stevil. And downstairs, Urkel's just he's nauseous, Steve. He's got the munchies, and he's got gigantic snacks to be just, which I love. I mean, I was stoned watching this. I was like, please, let me get
a Costco.
Hell yeah, dude.
He's got a whole tub of cheese.
Yes. Give me that, please.
And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and he's like, man, what's going on? The lights come back on, and he turns around, and Stevil is right there.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
I don't like, because this is what I said, Steve. There's the puppet, but then they've manufactured a mask to put on like a little person's body. So like then they have like a real person doing like, it's like what they did with Chucky. It's freaky.
Yeah, but it's also hilarious. Little people are always funny to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's one scene where a little person goes through. I mean, dude, I died, Steve. Me and Kendra almost turned the TV off. We lost it.
That was a twofer. I can't wait to get to that. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. And like the little Stevil is walking around. It's like, Steve's like, what do you want? Oh, nothing. Just your soul. Your soul.
And he does like a weird like eye like lightning thing, Palpatine style. But then Steve wakes up and is like, oh my God. And he's there, Steve. It's fine. It's just a nightmare. Or was it?
Stevil's back.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he brushes that off. And like as he's giving candies out to the little kids, Eddie comes down the stairs, and he's dressed up as Don King. And Laura's dressed up as an alien. Eddie's got like 2 ring girls, like boxer chicks, as escorts for his little Halloween party.
And they come in like, hey, Mr. King. I was like, damn, Eddie.
Yeah.
Fucking baller. Only in America, Steve.
And Steve tells Laura he's taken 8 shots of espresso, a 6-pack of Joke Cola, and a large bowl of Fruit Loops with extra sugar.
She's like, why would you do that to your bowels, Steve? And he's like, I gotta stay up. Stevil's here.
I'm not going to sleep until Thanksgiving. and Richie and 3J that come out and they're dressed as the MIBs.
Here comes Richie's ass, looking like he's 40. But they're gonna, and I do like this. They're going to, they're gonna go get some candy, but then they're gonna make them forget so they can come right back and get another piece of candy. Steven, I like that. I like that.
What I don't like, Matt, is when Carl comes out, he doesn't get an applause. We're in season 9? We're in season 9. Carl, you do it with Steve, and I get it, it's Steve, but come on, Carl, he don't get no, man. He been holding it down. Oh, he been in every episode. But anyway, Carl, he comes from the kitchen. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I agree.
Reginald Vale Johnson, come on now.
This motherfucker was here from day one. Urkel wasn't even supposed to be here.
Man, we right here with it. So he comes from the kitchen, and he's not trying to hear none of Steve's shit about no ventriloquist dummy. He's like, man, I just came from this company dinner, this police dinner that we had for Halloween. I done ate all the snacks and all the desserts, man. I'm about to go pass out, man. I'm feeling bloated. Man, move on with your little dummy stories.
Yeah. You're an adult. You look like an adult, so act like one. Be a man.
Be a man.
Oh,
you know what?
Steve. You got a point. I'll be a man, a manly man.
It's like, yeah, okay. I got to go upstairs and sleep in my full uniform for a little bit.
Yeah, so he drinks this Pepto-Bismol of a sleeping medicine, and in no time he goes to sleep. And in his dream, he comes downstairs with a bucket of brittle. And I don't know about you, but back in the day, my grandma would bring home some brittle, and I'd tear that whole bucket up. I'll fuck some brittle up.
I didn't like brittle as a kid, Steve. I wasn't a brittle kid. I like it now as an adult. I'll eat anything sweet at this point. Just to quell my shitty feelings. Just something so sweet. But also the brittle's gigantic, Steve. I like in these dreams, the food portions are just out of control. And I love that.
Yes, sir.
But he gets down the stairs, breaks one of his teeth on a big ass piece of brittle. And then he notices this box addressed to him. He's like, oh shit, Carl Winslow.
That's me.
This is my real doll? I thought it was going to take 3 months. This is nice. And he opens it up. It ain't a real doll, Steve, but it is a doll. And it looks really a lot like Carl. He's like, damn, somebody made me a little doll. And he just gets right to it. I guess he's a ventriloquist master because he just sits down and gets right to it, Steve.
Or aspiring ventriloquist master, because at first he's flattered. He does his little Heckle and Jekyll comedy bit, and then Steve comes in and he's just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, dude, this is my new little buddy. We're gonna hit the Hollywood Strip.
You're gonna play with a ventriloquist dummy on Halloween? What are you, fucking crazy?
And Carl's like, what are you tripping for? He's not even alive. And then right after he says that, Stevil walks in, Gary Coleman style, and he just blazes the Carl doll into the eyes and brings him to life. And he's not Carl anymore, Matt. He's Carlsbad.
That's awesome, by the way. Great. I love that. But Carlsbad, see, these fucking soul-sucking puppets. These motherfuckers, they just want souls, Steve.
That's all they want.
And they're just waddling around, chasing them around. But, where does this go from here? Because the doll comes alive, but there's way more to this, Steve.
Well, the dolls come alive and they do a little dance bit, and nothing is funny like little people dancing with their little legs and their little feet. And even Stevil does a little moonwalk, mini moonwalk.
Yeah, those little ass shoes, little baby Gap shoes.
And Carlsbad tells him, like, yeah, we got plans after this. Well, what? To murder and rob? No, we're going to show business. And Steve's like, oh, that's worse.
You don't want to see what they did to 3J. You thought you having a hand up your ass sucked.
I do appreciate those moonwalks, though, Stevil.
Yeah,
now hand over your soul so we could be human.
their little fingers, like.
What was also like there was some humor in this episode, obviously because we picked it for a reason. Like these are little people, like about as tall as a My Buddy doll. They're blocking Carl and Steve trying to escape because they're trying to leave the living room and they're just standing there in front of the door. Like, if you don't punt kick this little motherfucker.
Also, hey Carl, you're a cop. Pull the fucking gun out and just fucking blast these little fucks. Like, they're right there. Like, you don't even have to basically raise the gun, dude. Just
this is a nightmare, though, man. I've had those dreams where you're trying to punch the fuck out of somebody, but all your blows are soft. Maybe if you pull this gun, like the bullets would reverse or some shit.
Flowers would come out of it or some shit. But they run into another room, and these fucking little people, they're throwing a hell of a fucking, they're throwing some weight into this door, Steve. You know, like they definitely they pack a punch. They're dense, you know.
They're like, I think the coast is clear. I don't hear a sound. Then all of a sudden, axe, a little mini Toys R Us axe comes through the door. And Carlsbad comes through like, here's Carlsbad.
So then they get a dresser, Steve. A big ass dresser with it's like 6 feet tall. They put that thing in front of the door, and then it turns into like a goddamn poltergeist situation where doors are coming out. They're playing fucking whack-a-mole on these doors. And these fucking little people, I'm almost saying the M word all over the place here, and I don't want that to happen.
We've made it this far, man.
I know, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to let it. But, so they're stuck. Then the lights go out. Come back up. It's kind of quiet. Carl looks around. Steve's gone. Urkel's gone. It's quiet. What's going on here? Where'd Steve go? And then he's got to find his buddy because, you know, there's 2 puppets. There's only one of him now. He goes downstairs.
A skeleton falls on top of him as he's trying to find. Well, no, we've already found him. But
I do like that Carl looks through like the pelvis of the skeleton. You know, I don't know if that's medically like legit, but I did think that was funny. But I fucked up the timing. He gets into some like Home Alone foibles on the way to find Steve. You know.
Yeah, and then when he finds him, Steve is comatose, and he's just like, "When will this end?" And then Carlsbad and Steve will pop up, and they're like, "Very soon. One soul down, one more to go."
I lost my notes for this part, so lead me through this. I remember what happened, but when did we get the ECW style throw into like 2 little people?
Well, I think he confronts Stevil. He's like, "Well, you took his soul." He's like, "Yeah, I'm still evil, but now I feel guilty about it." And I think then Carlsbad has a interaction with him. He's like, "Freeze while I suck out your soul." And then they hop on Carl. And that's when shit gets real cray-cray. They just hop on Carl. And not only is it a little person with their flailing arms and legs, it becomes a fake little person as a second take, which I am like doubly enjoying. And he just whips them through the window. Yeah, he just
I mean, he does what we said. Like, why don't you just throw these things like a pillow fight? And I mean, they go sailing, Steve. They're through the window. They're off the property at this point.
He could have done that the whole time, but hey, this is season 9 of Family Matters.
Yeah. That's how I would do it, because I'd be like, little finger ass, little sausage fingers.
Oh man, I'm gonna rewatch that after recording this. But
you need to definitely have that on the actual video of the show on repeat over and over again, please.
For sure, and please believe it. And Steve, he's still out for lunch, and he's trying to like. Carl's like, "Man, dude, we got to get some help, man." And as he's like guiding Steve along, he finally comes to life. He's like, "What's the rush?" And then he does the little glasses laser shoot, and I believe that's when Carl wakes up. Yeah. And he's like, "Dude, what the hell just happened?" He goes downstairs and he sees Steve, regular Steve this time, and he's eating candy. And he tells Steve, like, "Man, I gotta come clean, dude. I just had a nightmare of my life." and I dreamed about Stevil myself. Not only that, he had a sidekick that looked like me. So, dude, I apologize for clowning you about the Stevil nightmare. And yeah, I should apologize for all of the season 9 story arcs of Family Matters too, but we'll just leave it there.
Yeah. I'm sorry about the Stefan Urkel stuff. I'm sorry about all of it. I'm sorry my daughter's a massive bitch, but I should have listened to you. I should have let you talk about your dreams so that it was less scary instead of just making you feel bad about it. I'm sorry, Steve. Which leads Steve Urkel to then like unload a bunch of crazy other shit, and like then Carl's like, God damn it.
What did I start?
Yeah, let me get that puppet back.
What about the time I got stuck in a cheese factory and Myra came to get me, but I couldn't kiss her because I didn't have lips? And then I tried to run home, but I didn't have feet.
So I just kept falling over. Oh, Jesus, Steve. I got to go to work.
In the closing credits scene, live in Las Vegas in the Oak Room, we got Stevil and Carlsbad doing a comedy gig. And
hey, ooh, it's not going good, Steve. They're going to be off Fremont streets.
yeah, they're not received well at all, man. There's some in-house fighting that they need to iron out before they, do anything else. But
you got all the funny lines, but you keep fucking them up.
Boo.
Yeah, it gets wacky, but it was a Halloween episode, Steve. We had to do it.
We had to. It's been a while since we visit the Winslow family in Chicago.
Yeah, dude. We didn't get any Harriet impersonations. She was gone. Kyle's bad.
I don't know, Kyle. Season 9, I don't know.
I don't even want to come to work.
Does Laura like the boy? Nah, just marry him, all right?
Is he living in our house? Or what the hell is going on at this point?
What? Yeah, but still, iconic show. Like it's a big part of my childhood and a cornerstone of that magical TGIF, man. But any callbacks, cum rags, takeaways?
I've been calling it out the whole episode, but because we talked about the original X-Men cartoon, watch it and then pop over to X-Men, the animated series 97 and see the continuation. And it's just, you're going to love it. It's one of the best things that's come out in a long time. The new series that I'm talking about that's on Disney Plus. And it just adds to the greatness of what they already did on that show. So if you don't have it, you feel bad, but just like Steve does, you'll find a way.
You find a way. If you build it, they will come.
What about you, Steve?
I want to give a RIP mention, man, to DJ Clark Kent. He passed away over the weekend, and he is a legendary producer / DJ. He was behind some pretty good iconic beats from the 90s. He did Brooklyn's Finest, which was on Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt. It featured Notorious B.I.G. He did the Players Anthem with Junior Mafia. Ladies, rub your titties if you love Big Papa. And he's been a frequent collaborator of a lot of great New York artists, that I appreciated over the years, man. So RIPs are in order for that. And I just want to run down the list for all of the Halloween related episodes that happened in the 90s or some of the better ones. In 1991, 90210 is airing episode Halloween. Cheers is airing Bar Wars, The Final Judgment. Simpsons is airing Treehouse of Horror 2. And in 1992, SNL is having musical guests 10,000 Maniacs with host Catherine O'Hara. That has some Halloween themes in it. In 1995, Home Improvement is airing Let Them Eat Cake. Roseanne airs Halloween, the final chapter. And that's another show that had a Halloween tradition over the seasons, man. In 1996, New York Undercover airs Kill the Noise. Martin airs Booze in the House, and that had a cameo from Mr. T. Love that. 1997, Boy Meets World airs The Witches of Pembroke, where Candace Cameron makes a cameo and she plays a witch. Sabrina the Teenage Witch is airing River of Candy Korn runs through it. Step by Step is airing Dream Lover. 1998, Walker Texas Ranger is airing The Children of Halloween. In 1999, Simpsons aired Treehouse 410. Yeah, try to make that as quick as I could.
Whoa.
Yeah. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister, let's play house. Let's play house. Check out Food Show Fanatics as well as Crushgasm with Kendra G, our guy Clark the Shark on Podcastle. This is Steve G and Mad G with
Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the flat kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
If you wanna play with me, lay with me, stay with me. If you wanna play with me, let's play house.